Folks, I know I love my job. I know I love my job because I have sat down in front of you to talk about Nebraska beating Oklahoma for a 2025 recruit. And I got to tell you, the way that things have been going for Oklahoma and the way that things have been going for Nebraska, to say nothing of Texas or Oklahoma State, got me feeling some kind of way these last few days. But you know what? This is the latest sign of what Nebraska is capable of with just a little bit of optimism. A little bit of optimism. That's all it took. A little bit of optimism. And you are beating Oklahoma for a 4-star linebacker that Oklahoma wanted. Like, sometimes we do these things where we're talking about recruiting battles and we throw names in because they sound good, right? He got offers from LSU, Notre Dame, Alabama, what have you. For the longest time, an offer from Alabama was never an offer from Alabama. It was an offer to camp at Alabama, where they were going to work your behind and make you prove that you are the player that you show yourself to be on film. That's not an offer. That is an offer to camp. That's different. I've always thought of an offer as going someone calling your coach and your coach being able to tell you, hey, I got off the phone with Brent Venables. You got a full scholarship offer to the University of Oklahoma, because that's usually how it works, right? It also works like that in my business. You know, other people call your agent and then your agent relays the news. In this case, high school football coaches acted as agents for the players in many cases because, well, the coach trusted the player. The coach trusts the coach. College coach trusts the high school coach. High school coach trusts the player. And then there's the family dynamic that also is very important in there. But again, it's transactional because you got to be able to go back to that coach when he gets another player, or you got to go back to that area, to that city, to that place where you want to go back and get more recruits. And one of the things that always had been frustrating for Nebraska fans is watching guys that grow up in the state of Nebraska that are good choose to leave Nebraska to play college ball elsewhere. It fits kind of like it fits for everybody else. I'm always going to be hard on the University of Tulsa for not locking down the Tulsa Metro. Brendan Presley goes to Oklahoma State. He is showing out. He went to Bixby. Josh Proctor, he went to Owasso. He went to Ohio State. Dax Hill went to Booker T around the street. He went to Michigan. I can keep going on this one. Josh Jacobs coming out of McLean. They ain't had nobody since Sean Jackson, then Prentice Elliott. He went to Alabama. Sean went to TU, but Prentice went to Oklahoma State. And I can keep going down and down. Like, even now, Cole Adams, whose dad was my high school football coach at Memorial in Tulsa, he at Alabama. You know what I'm saying? He's playing in the slot for them right now. So if you're a Nebraska fan, one of the things that you really wanted Matt Rhule to do is please put a fence up around the state of Nebraska, because we care about football far too much to be letting all this talent leave the state to go play elsewhere. And I know that there are a lot of people that believe that Nebraska's recruiting fell off because they went from the Big 12 to the Big 10 because it didn't seem as likely that they could dip into the state of Texas like they used to go get players. I'm here to tell y'all, ever since we've been playing football on national television and these things called commercial flights have taken place, it ain't really been that big a deal. Yeah, you're trying to sell, we're going to come back to Texas to play. At the time, let's say the old Big 12 would have been Texas, it'd have been Baylor, it'd have been A&M. That's it, right? Texas Christian a little bit later on. But for the most part, I don't think it mattered as much as people think it does, because the parents that I know, especially the parents that have big-time college football recruits, they are at every game, either by their own dime or by somebody else's, because we believe that parents deserve to be at every sporting event that their kid plays in, especially at that level. And even so, you on television, dog. That's what I try to tell people. Had I wanted to do this job before the age of national television college football being ubiquitous, it would have been impossible. It really would have. I didn't grow up with the money to go to games like others. It's a form of gatekeeping that I know makes a lot of people uncomfortable. But the fact of the matter is, it costs a lot of money to go to football games. It costs a lot of money to get there. It costs a lot of money to get tickets to get there. And then you have to be savvy about moving around the stadium and how to watch the game, because there ain't no replay unless they put it up on the Jumbotron and you're at the mercy of whoever that is. And then you got to deal with unruly fans, especially if the game ain't going your way, or even worse, if the game is, because people don't choose to sit down and you know the nine if you go to games. I'm saying this to the people that don't get to go, right? I didn't really get to go to my first college football game until I started covering it as working press. That's how hard it had always been for me to go to games. And even now, it's still difficult to get me out to college football games, even for my team, right, for the University of Oklahoma. So when I say that, you should know that the recruiting part doesn't really factor that way. Players and players and parents will find a way to get to that game. But to see a dude like Christian Jones, who is 100% that dude, I watched that dude go from a stand-up leverage technique, shucking left tackle, and then go make a tackle in the backfield. I've seen that guy run downfield catching passes. I've seen that dude basically be whoever he wants to be as a linebacker, and he's the number one player in the state of Nebraska 2025 at that position. And the thing that pushed him over the top, the thing that made this real to him, was the Colorado game. And I get to say that because he had said, I really want to see how the season goes before I make a decision. Here are your data points. Oklahoma beats Temple 51-3 at home. Okay? Another data point. Oklahoma has Houston at home on television at night, but it is on the SEC network, which is not a nationally televised game, though it is on cable. Meanwhile, Nebraska is playing the most popular, or depending on who you want to be, infamous team in college football on NBC at night, just down the road from where he grows up in Omaha in Lincoln, where we all know, and if you don't know, now you know, Nebraska is feeling itself. Nebraska ain't felt this good in a very, very long time. Nebraska beats Colorado, who ain't nobody in the grand scheme of things, 28-10. Oklahoma struggles against Houston. What happens on Monday the following? Christian Jones decided he had seen enough. He's going to the University of Nebraska. As an Oklahoma person, you just got to eat that. You got to eat that. There's nothing else to say there. I mean, I get lauded for being unbiased on the show, but it's really not that hard. I'm a fan of college football. And to be a fan of college football is to have your team. But it's not to actively just root against everybody else doing well. And it certainly isn't acting stupid when people are having things go their way. That's the sport. It comes and it goes for all of us. Ask Oklahoma fans what it was like to be an Oklahoma fan from basically 1994 to 1998. It sucked. It was awful. And you know who was beating us like a drum? The University of Nebraska. At a time when Oklahoma was going 5-5-1 and Howard Schnellenberger was getting sued because he refused to let the team drink water during 2 days in the summer in Oklahoma where it get to be north of 100 degrees, Nebraska fielded the best college football team of the 90s and quite literally one of the 5 best college football teams of all time, running roughshod through what was the Big 12 with Tommy Frazier. And a little bit later on, we get to see Amon Green, Lawrence Phillips. My God, I keep going. You know, there is a whole group, a whole TikTok generation of Zoomers that don't know what the beast is like when they say go Big Red. It used to fill us with chills. We used to be like, please, no. The way that people used to, some of y'all know what it was like to fear Bama during Nick Saban's reign of terror. Some of y'all know what it's like to fear Clemson from 2014 to 2018. Some of y'all know what it was like to know that LSU was going to run through you like 3-day-old Taco Bell. And now I got to see Nebraska landing recruits and Nebraska being 2-0. And I'm telling y'all, Nebraska is on the come up. It's on the way, man. Like in August, I was like, you know what? Win some games first. Put 40 up on UTEP. RJ, UTEP ain't nobody. You're not hearing me. They put up 40 on UTEP. And the quarterback didn't throw the ball away, and he's a true freshman. That, you don't usually regress as a quarterback. You get better as a quarterback. The boy is 18, 19 years old. The boy is already showing composure, and he ain't forcing it into places it ain't got to go. He is mature back there, throwing the ball away, letting the running game go to work, letting Tony White's defense do some will. If it sounds like we are on the cusp of watching Nebraska get back, because that's how it feels, we can revisit this as the year goes on, and we will. But right now, when you land in Christian Jones out of Nebraska to Nebraska over Oklahoma and Brent Venables, knowing what he has put out with his resume, yeah. It's hard for Nebraska fans to not be feeling themselves, and it's hard for anybody that's on their schedule to be like, oh, damn, we might be up to something. All right. If you like the channel, please subscribe. We are at 105,000 subscribers. 2/3 of the people that watch this show don't subscribe. Subscribe to the show. I'm just little old RJ trying to make this thing go. It's me over here. You know, we don't do the B-roll and whatnot and so forth. We do live shows Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Sundays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and at 10 p.m. on Saturdays in the fall. I'll see you on the flip side. Deuces.